Hello, everyone. Welcome, Master Power Cast. We are back. We took a break last week. I had my birthday. Tyler was off at the beach having a great time. We didn't really even discuss your time at the beach before we started doing the show, but I know you had a good time. You talked about a movie that your nephews were watching, and you said, I really have to check it out, and I'm not going to watch that.
Yeah. So people, if want to know, Nathan has limitations on what he will or will not watch. I found one. So because like if he wants to watch, shitty He-Man movies and all this other stuff, he's no, he has a breaking point, and I'm. It's funny that I found it. Yeah.
See, you putting that out there now, I'm like, you know what? I am going to watch this. So you're doing the reverse psychology bit
Because I'm
on
thinking,
me.
man, if you're gonna watch all this other modern bullshit that's coming our way, like, but hey, I have my limits, and yeah, and I'm quite a vocal in it. And I'm like, no, I'm okay with those limitations. I'm not going to sit and just make myself mad in my own home for the hell of it, just for fun.
Right.
Yeah,
For those that are really wondering, it's this movie on Netflix. It's got WWE partnership in it, and it's some kid that puts on a lucha mask, and he has these wrestling powers. So he goes to NXT, and he's wrestling guys called Stinkface and stuff like that. And it's
yeah. It was cool to see my nephews into it, but I'm wondering, like, what does Nathan, what would Nathan think about this?
yeah, no. I think that would be the toughest part. Is I would just be watching it, thinking like, oh, why are they if wrestling's involved in that way, I think that's why I can't do it. But I mean, I sat through a 6 hour AEW pay per view last night. So 6 hours. So
And Nathan's got stamina.
I mean, it was a great show. That was the thing. Like it had some it ebbed and flowed a little. Like I said, there were parts in it that it reached a point that I would look at my phone for a second, but no, that 6 hours went by pretty fast. I mean, it helps when you also have drinks on hand. So I'll maybe I'll start that movie. I'll just be like, all right, let's see what this is about just a little bit. But I just it's not something I'm actively like. Yeah, even for good bad watching to laugh at it. I don't think that's not it's not on the list for me. So um, I'm curious. Superman came out, and I've
Hmm.
heard good. I've heard decent things, and I've heard people be like, like they always do. So I don't really know what to think. Rotten Tomatoes was
Oh,
what
they
they.
say everything's great. When do they
Yeah,
not say a new movie that comes out is, oh my god, certified fresh? Like,
yeah.
do people really use that at this point in time as a reliable source? Like, well, this website says it's 100% fresh. It's got to be damn good.
Maybe. I'm not one for it. I go on Letterboxd and just follow people on there and kind of gauge their opinion on stuff, and just you find certain people on there. It's like, oh, they gave this 4 out of 5. Oh, all right, maybe I'll check it out. And then if you watch it and it's like, yeah, I kind of feel the same way that they did, and you start to follow them and kind of just find people on there that have the similar taste
Yeah.
and vibe that you do, and go from that. But yeah, I don't keep up with Rotten Tomatoes, but I see that Red Letter did a half in the bag on it, so maybe I'll watch that and see what they thought.
I
I don't
guess
know.
I've only heard a couple, and they both kind of said the same thing, but not as one was a little bit more detailed. The other one was like, they both felt like it has its moments, and
Hmm.
some of the casting is okay, but the movie, the tone keeps breaking because of the constant jokes that James Gunn likes to force in. Like, you can't have an intense moment without someone like making a really bad attempt at oh, I got to be witty in this, big moment here.
Yeah, and
No, it won't. That's why I hated modern the current Marvel stuff, because everyone wanted to mimic what Guardians did. Everything's about jokes, and people. Hey, I'm in the minority in that one, but I don't want the tone constantly broken because everyone feels like they have to have a shot at telling a joke,
mm,
and I can't stand that. And that's what James. That's his forte. That's what got him the job
got him
with
where he's
DC.
at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is telling jokes and nothing's taken seriously. So it's not
I
for me.
I think that having a lighthearted approach to this. I like that better than what DC had been doing up to that point, which is too dark and gritty for everybody, every character. Like that became too much. So, I,
Well, even those, I felt like they botched that. It's like they're trying to make Superman into this goth kid, mopes, and just it's just like, dude, you guys don't like Superman at all, do you?
yeah, I mean the Snyder Bros are really mad
Oh,
about this new
they're
Superman.
just as rabid as other branches of Superman fans too. But um,
Yeah,
I feel like there's a nice healthy medium where you can have a moment or two with some humorous remarks or a humorous moment here and there. But Superman's not someone that just I don't know. We could spend hours talking about
yeah,
that, but
we could.
point being, I'm never going to see it. I have no desire to see it. Once I heard James Gunn was going to be done, I was like, nah. And I've watched the trailers and I'm like, doesn't impress me. I don't like the suit. And I just it's jam packed with characters that are just going to be there for glorified cameos, and I'm like, why are you doing this? And
I think that was one of the
there's
things that was mentioned is that it was too many characters in it, which you run the risk of that, especially when they were showing in the trailer. It's like, oh,
yeah.
okay, we're gonna have X, Y, and Z in here too, and we're trying. Okay, that
It's like, dude,
sure,
shouldn't you just focus on trying to make sure people or want to see another Superman movie and that you did it right, and then you can focus on bringing in Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, Mister Terrific, and everyone else under the sun if you want to do that. It's like, no, we got to get right back to where Marvel once was many years ago.
yeah. But also, I understand
It's
that too. Like they are starting to treat the audience like, do you really want another origin story? No, you don't. Okay,
and
let's.
I'm glad, but I guess I'm also hearing too that the movie comes off like you're about 3 movies in without having seen them.
Hmm.
That this movie starts off like, which yeah, I don't need to see another origin story of a lot of superhero movies, but I feel like sometimes you can do a good job with retelling it without changing too damn much. But again, don't need to see Krypton blow up. But then again, too, you know what? After Zack Snyder's version of it, which was like Avatar in space, it's like no, no, forget it. Just don't bother.
Well, we will
I
move
was so
on once
I was
it.
so angry when I got out of that damn movie. I was like, this
I,
movie sucks.
I remember. I
Yeah.
remember. Well, we will move on from our modern Hollywood discussion that we always seem to get into. But I also need to say this too. Like when Tyler was at the beach this week, him and I really didn't talk too much. Like because I didn't want to bother you really while you're on
I didn't keep my
vacation.
phone with me a whole lot. Like
Yeah,
it would either be in my bedroom or it would be in the beach bag, and
yeah,
I'd be sitting down by the water, and I really wouldn't check it that much. When we're getting ready to have dinner or killing time, when we're getting ready to do something, I go on there and watch some YouTube or something like that, and or it was minimal.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
Tyler. So
if I
yeah,
hear if
Tyler
I
and I
hear from
didn't.
you or Kevin, I'm like, hey, all right, what do they got to say? That kind of thing. But
Yeah,
I really was just kind of checked out, and it was nice not being connected to my phone for many days or for minimal amounts each day. I
yeah.
would
No,
check in to see what happens with basketball and things like that. For the most part, I'm just like I'm there with family and Erica. I'm
yeah.
laughing, having a good time, and enjoying the beach. So
Yeah, no, that's great. I think more people should do that. Break away from your phone and just appreciate something else, and
yeah,
the people, and just whatever. Just
yeah.
don't. Yeah,
I, oh, we,
ignoring that is like a great thing to do.
it is, and it just shows you how bad. Like we went for one of many morning walks, and we came across this family, husband, wife, and 2 daughters sitting underneath a tent. All of them,
Or-
all four
Oh,
of them on their phone. All four of them.
yeah.
There was no talking. They're all in sync, lined up on the phone. I'm like, man, look what's around you here, people. Why did you bother coming out here?
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's
Uh,
just I guess it's more entertaining watching, people shove things up their ass on TikTok than interacting with your family at the beach.
they don't do that on TikTok.
Well,
TikTok's got some funny stuff. I know Tyler's like all they do is dance on that app and all
all I
this
ever
stuff.
see is people dancing or they're lip syncing or they're just
No,
10
that
second videos for attention. I'm just
no,
like, God, man,
you
like
got to work with the algorithm. so you keep swiping and then you find stuff. Like I find like just really funny random things. You give that a heart and then it changes your algorithm, so it'll start finding more stuff like that. So yeah, that's what you got to do. Like it starts with some like default stuff, but you gotta create your for you page. You know, TikTok's a good time killer. But yeah, uh, just get away from the phones, especially when you're on
Yeah.
vacation. Like I mean, Tyler, maybe they were just taking a moment and they were all just doing that for.
This was in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It wasn't
I
like it was like 2 in the afternoon. Oh, we've been out here for 6, 7 hours.
yeah,
Like, nah, this was like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, just
Already
very
are all lined up. Like, yeah, I'm bored. You know,
yeah.
I would love to go by and just smack them all out of their hands, knock them into the sand, and then kick them into the
Look
surf.
at the water.
Yeah,
Just look at
whatever.
it. Yeah. All right. Well, we will move on to our topic. So we're doing a mini comic makeover, but in order for us to get to that point, we have to first review it, right? So let me go
Yeah,
ahead and add all this stuff here. The Stench of Evil, Tyler. This is the mini comic that we have chosen for this go around, and the Battle of the Smells.
yeah. I love the cover. Always have.
Yeah,
It's
the cover's great.
it's a great cover. It gives you an idea of like, hey, this should be an amazing bout and introduction of Stinkor to the universe and making him a very formidable threat to He-Man and the heroic warriors. And it's not that.
Yeah. Of course, we're opening this up with the sorceress flying around to check on Mossman. So I understand why they did this because Stinkor, Mossman, both of these figures, when you get them, they smell.
Yeah.
So it's appropriate, I guess, to include Mossman within the story.
Yeah, and it's a shame that they don't really have any interaction until the very end, and it's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
It definitely comes off as a very environmentally conscious story for 1985. Nothing compared to what would be shoved down our throats in the early 90s. You
With
know,
Captain
which
Planet.
with Captain Planet, everybody pushing. Which hey, I'm all for. I don't like people littering and not putting stuff where it needs to belong, and and just treating our surroundings with dignity and respect, so we keep it healthy and fresh. But you can overdo it, and it just comes off like oh my god, cut the shit, man! Like stop preaching to me.
Yeah, but Moss Man needs the sorceress's ability to speak with
And
animals.
that I'm like, okay, that's foul ball number one right there. Like Mossman resides in the forest. It makes no sense that he needs to call upon the sorceress to talk to animals. Not to mention the sorceress is not supposed to be able to leave Castle Grayskull uh in human form. Like
Right.
that rule was broken a few times in the filmation series. It's been broken here before her figure's introduced, and they say, well, once the Towers of Rise, things have changed. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But already we're just like, nah. It's
But Tyler, this cub is lost. It's been separated from its mother.
and you know what? Mossman, who's the king of the forest, basically, can't can't help this cub find its she bear mother. It's like you're wasting precious panels of introducing two kick-ass characters with the mythology because we got to play Lost and Found with a cub and a she bear.
But
But
Tyler,
Mossman can't find them though.
I love all the forest creatures, though I
Yeah,
love plants best of all.
but I can't help none of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
and
I,
this is one of Larry Houston's comics too, and it is not good. The cover's great, but Mossman looks terrible in this. Like he just looks very clunky. I mean, this isn't like Leech and Montana Cosmic Key quality, but
is it safe to say that Moss Man, I think, has gotten the shit end of the stick art wise in Mass Universe media? Like he's so inconsistently drawn in pretty much everything he's been in.
outside of the River of Ruin Golden Book, where he's introduced for the first time in that one to He-Man, and he looks closer to the figure and treated very seriously. Um, yeah, I'd say you're probably right. Like he's not given too many appearances, and when he is, it's very ugly, very laughable, and it's just like, God, man, you guys are missing so many opportunities with this character, and just it's almost as if like they just don't know what to do with the character.
Mm,
Like you feel like, okay, he doesn't always have to be in the forest to have adventures with Moss Man, but a lot of the planet would have forest, wildlife, plants, things that Moss Man would be akin to, and yet everyone's just, they just seem like I don't know. I mean, in this book too, it falls victim of like, okay, in my opinion, I think Mossman should have had his own book, Stinkor should have had his own book,
hmm.
and then you throw in Battle Bones in this book,
Yeah.
which had his own comic or shared a mini comic with Dragon Blaster Skeletor. Like he already got a prominent introduction, and they pretty much not that Battle Bones is used a great deal, but it comes off like as a hey, market this toy again in this mini comic. But we got already two other toys in this book. I don't give a shit. Put it in there.
But
Yeah.
the sorceress, after the bears have been reunited, something's off, and Mossman is asking her, "Well, hey, what's wrong with you?" I feel like someone's watching us, and Skeletor, of course, watching. This is a good shot of Skeletor, though. This is
Yeah, it's not bad.
yeah.
It lacks um like it's just kind I feel like there's a lot, and this may have been like a last like we don't see it's all white around Skeletor on that top panel, and then the page before it's you're not really seeing an interior of Snake Mountain, and this may have been something that Larry was asked to do in a hurry. He's like, all right, hey, they're paying me, just get it done. We don't care, get it done. um and part, and I'll say this when we go to our remake of it. um I the I feel like for Stinker to reside in a forest, and I guess unless this is in like the dark hemisphere, I
Hmm.
kind of feel like it'd be kind of hard pressed to ignore the scent of Stinkor if he was anywhere else on the planet. It almost as if like, well, yeah, he'd have to be residing in the dark hemisphere. There's no way in hell he could be hanging out in the light hemisphere and no one would know what is that smell?
Yeah.
Where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
But Skeletor, your master calls you come forth, and then what does the great Skeletor want of me? And this, your powerful smell. I want you to bring misery to places that are full of happiness. And it's like, oh
But
boy,
God,
like
this is so sloppy, and just they're dumbing down the story because they think that kids are dumb. Like God, man. Like, of course, I couldn't read this when I first got this in '87, I think,
mhm.
or maybe early '88. Um, I just looked at the pictures and all that stuff, and I mean, it's a very campy and not in a fun way, like plot or Skeletor scheme is just like, yeah, he is about destruction, but it's like there's too much happiness here. Go create some
Yeah,
shit. Go start
yeah,
some shit.
yeah. Go make it smells, and the animals can't stand the smell, so they start to flee, and it's like, okay, so I don't like the animals will just go somewhere else, and once they're away from the smell, then they're happy again. So that
Yeah,
makes
it's not much of a
plot
it,
device for
no,
this.
it's not. And of course, Mossman's like, where are you going?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. He's polluting the skies now, so even the
yeah,
birds are flying
and
away.
Skeletor's just following along the land shark. Like,
Yeah,
that's a good boy. There you go.
yeah, stinking
Like,
up.
yeah, it's like, dude, you could have just summoned him from Snake Mountain and said, look, I want you. We'll get into
Well, yeah,
later.
but at this point too, like, wouldn't Skeletor also be like, man, this guy really he smells so bad, even I can't be around him.
I would like to think that since Skeletor doesn't have a nose, he has a
True, but
skull face.
yeah,
I'd like to think that there has got to be some sort of tolerance with the character. Like obviously, I'd expect people like Beastman, Jitsu, Blade, Triclops, Trapjaw, Evelyn.
yeah. I mean, I
E-
guess when you think about that, with him having a skull face, taste and smell is probably not in the cards.
not really. And honestly, given what he's about, I could see that like what Stinkor would admit. Uh, you know, uh, not hippie scent, but in the story, I kind of feel like it would be a lot more threatening, something that you know uh,
uh, see,
really couldn't.
when I think of hippie scent, let's talk about this real quick because I've seen and I know people will be like, "Well, who are you to speak on? Look at how long your hair is and blah blah blah." I shower.
What are you talking about? That is a hippie.
I shower every day, sometimes twice a day. But I've seen like local hippies around here, and the smell is not of when you think of like shit or like onions or anything. Their smell is more like it's like salt. Does that make sense? Most of the time they got like dread. It just smells like really. It's like salt mixed with something else, and it's not terrible, but you know it when you smell it, kind of thing. And
Yeah,
yeah, I guess that's how Skeletor's probably like, yeah, it stinks, but it's fine.
yeah. Well, it stinks, but it serves a purpose. Like this is what I want destruction, and if people can't breathe,
Yeah,
it deteriorates plant life and things like that. Then yeah, he would be all about that.
I want it to smell like onions at PowerCon 2023.
Yeah, Onion Valley, here we come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, my Mothman's just like, hey, where you going?
And
Uh,
just he's again a bit of a schlub. He's like, even the ants right here. I better get help.
yeah,
And it's just like, dude, man, this is not the figure action figure Mossman is and Mossman's in my top five of all time. I love the character. I love the look of the character. He looks very imposing and beat your ass, but also like the fact that he is powerful of talking to plants, probably controlling them as well. But then I always feel like you don't want to make him like ridiculously overpowerful, like 2000 X there, where this like the guy can make you know just earth shattering levels of plant life come to life to the point where it's like, dude, we don't need to make him a god.
yeah. He's not evil
It's
seed.
no, but it's just like something just. But again, that's neither here nor
Yeah.
there. But he
Well,
just comes off as just someone who's just like, so you just kind of hang out in the bush. Is that all you do? Do you look at the animals? Do you get or what do you do exactly? And
yeah.
it's just they're not building him up properly in this story already.
Right.
He looks terrible, and then he can't do anything for himself. And of course, the threat moves out of the forest
And we get a
to
description of what Stinkor smells like. Worse than 100 skunks. So yeah, that would be pretty awful.
yeah, and
Because
we all know skunks. I mean, yeah, you smell a fresh like skunk spray. I mean,
it's bad.
yeah, it make you throw up, and that's why I've always thought Stinkor is one of the most, if not the most, underrated of all the He-Man villains because we're talking about chemical warfare. You
Yeah,
cannot breathe around this guy. Not everybody has a gas mask that can purify the air. If you can't breathe, if the odor's getting into your eyes and affects your eyes, you can't breathe and
yeah,
everything. Like, dude, I mean, there's no end to there's no limit to what Stinkor could do in terms of like of destruction, and yet he's dismissed as like this just schlubby stink character and can't do anything because he's a walking fart joke, so to speak. And it's like, no, he's not at all.
yeah.
But we
Uh,
get more talking bears,
yeah, no,
she
well,
bear, and
yeah. Going back to the family here.
it's like, oh man, this is action adventure, and I look. I will be the first to tell you I love the episodes of Filmation where they're all about protecting animals, but they're not beating it over the skull with it. It's woven nicely into the story, and obviously, yeah, right here, where the story progresses and we cut to Prince at the Royal Palace, and some jerk wants to sell him a wild wolf.
Yeah,
Hey, make a great pet, kid.
yeah,
And it's like, dude, it's a wild animal. Like domesticated animals is one thing, but a wild animal being pulled out of its environment, you're like, no, get the hell out of here, let him
yeah,
go.
yeah.
I like that, but again, this is wasting time pushing a narrative that has nothing to do with the characters that this mini comic is supposed to be selling you on. Because if you got Mossman, you need to be inspired to want to go get Stinkor, and vice versa. And this is
Right.
not doing it.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. But Adam, you're so wise.
And then it's
Like,
just like, oh my god, there's something going on. I got to get out of here. Like
yeah,
it's
excuse me, I gotta
just,
go now.
it's like very very quick transition, and just to get Battlecat out of the story, which I think it would have looked better, or even you know, with He-Man going into the forest with Battlecat, or with Stridor. Because Stridor is is a mechanical horse. Don't have to worry about, you know,
We gotta
what's
sell
happening.
battle bones to the kids, Tyler.
We do, but he's not used that much.
Yeah.
I was glad. It's cool to see Stratos back in action, but he's pretty short lived. Like I can't stand the smell, and then he's out of the picture pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and then it kind of makes you wonder who are the other heroic warriors that are joining him there, because it's just you don't see anybody else in particular. You know, like any of that. Like
Yeah.
it looks
Let's
like
try.
Mossman sitting in the back, Buzz off maybe in front of him. You know, you just you know it could have been just villagers like, yeah, 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 we're with you, He-Man. And it's just
Well, it's like
yeah,
He-Man, Tila, and then
it could be anybody. I'm sure Man at Arms, because he's always around for all the big battles and things like that. um
yeah, because they don't even
yeah,
show
and
show
then
you there
Stratus is
either.
taken out of action right there. And then you know I do feel like right here Stinker's causing a lot of damage already.
Hmm.
The need to have Skeletor enhance what Stinker's already, like nothing stopping him. It kind of feels like you're taking away the significance of like how powerful this character is. Like he shouldn't need any kind of power up. Like he has not even faced this guy yet. Everyone's running from this guy. Let's test us how tolerant He-Man is of this new villain. And you know, it's like you could have done it without that. Didn't need to do any of that. Uh and honestly, I don't think Skeletor needed to really be involved heavily in the story in terms of like being right there behind. Of course, they're helping sell the Land Shark with this as well, because
Yeah.
this was out around the same time too. Uh, and then Mossman, after Skeletor enhances Stinkor and he's finding the heroic warriors, and then Mossman's playing hide and seek with him, like you know, just messing with him. Hey, hey, he's coming. He's like, you know,
Yeah.
just
Who's there?
who's there? And Skeletor's not paying
Come this
attention.
way. Yeah.
And then he
Eh,
pulls like, you know, Bam Margera and his dad with the
on the
lawn.
lawnmower. Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna get yours, boss man.
Yeah.
You know,
Gives
just
them the old Baron Wade.
yeah, yeah. It's just not what you want to see Moss Man doing. It's just not very strong. And already right here, this I like seeing He-Man is falling on the ground. He can't breathe. This is something that, you know what, yeah, I can't defeat this guy because I have nothing to fight against it. Like if he were to walk in with an intense, like, you know, because He-Man has moments where he has like intense breath where he could like build his lungs up and then blast someone if you wanted to with a lot of lung power.
Right.
But not knowing what this was and walking right into it, it just he drops right down to his knees, and I love that. You know, like he's not going fisticuffs with Stinkor at all because he can't get up, he can't fucking breathe,
But do
and
you
that's how you
love
get.
in the midst of this that Stinkor gets hit in the back of the head with mud or something, and who
Yeah,
threw that?
yeah, the muscle. I did it, and just you know,
Oh man, here we
it's
go.
here come the mudslinging. And this is kind of what it should have been about, but it's not, and it's done very quickly.
Hmm.
Uh, and then it's just like it builds Mossman up to be super strong, just because well, it's the end of the story, and well, we got to wrap this thing up
Yeah, but
because it,
he surrounds himself with pure oxygen from the trees of the forest and
yeah,
creates
which
this
that
barrier
that
around him.
that's a cool idea and concept, but that should have been something that we were kind of led to believe or introduced with what he can do at the
Hmm.
beginning of the story. It's just kind of like mishmash, whatever, you know, and then throw Stinker into a bed of flowers, which,
It smells great. I can't
yeah,
stand it. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
going back to my own forest.
it's kind of
I'll never come here
clunky.
again.
Yeah, yeah, it's just not. Uh, yeah, it's when you have your villains being afraid of flowers and things like that.
Hmm.
It's like, come on, man, like we're making this really sappy, and we just this is targeted toward young boys, guys. Like, come on. But
Yeah,
unfortunately,
Man at Arms was there. How about that?
yeah, he was there. And of course, Taylor's like, why was he so upset with flowers? Well, flowers smell great, and what perfume is to us is poison to Stinkor. And I mean that is just ugly. If Mossman and He-Man doesn't look great there either.
But hey, to tie it back in to you being at the beach and being not being on your phone, this is why I must always value the beautiful things in life and fight for them so they can never be taken away from us. So it's like
Absolutely.
you gotta enjoy your beautiful surroundings and stop looking at your phone.
Yeah.
That's what the sorceress is really trying to say here.
Yeah, so we can all learn a lesson from the end of the story. It took us it was a clunky path to get there, but the moral of the story is stop looking at your damn phones all the time. Enjoy the people around you that you care about. Enjoy, beautiful weather or the wonderful smells of what nature has to offer, or dog smells, because who doesn't love a good puppy smell or something like that too,
Yeah.
uh, but not a great debut for Mossman or Stinkor, and Stinkor would be used almost just I feel like he only had like one other appearance, and that was in the Hordak mini comic. He's used even less,
Yeah.
you know.
So that is us going through the mini comic. Let's go ahead and let's give it a rating here out of 10. What would you give the Stench of Evil?
I mean, it's not the worst offender. It really isn't,
Yeah.
but it's a massive wasted opportunity. So I'd probably have to give it a 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Yeah,
middle. I'm gonna go middle ground here and say 5.
5.
The art in it is mostly okay, but it's like you said, it's not the worst mini
No,
comic. But let's talk about how this should have been. Let's come up with something. Tyler's he's probably got notes written already on his phone that he didn't
no,
look at
actually
early.
no, because I think originally we were going to do a what if topic,
Yeah.
and then when you suggested this, like, yeah, let's do it. I hadn't had any thoughts,
Okay.
anything.
All right.
So I just had to go back, and I reread this just for the hell of it, and was just kind of spitballing a few things too. And again, right from the beginning, introduction, Sprat's got to go. What I thought was the story would start out with Mossman not being known, but has been seen by villagers that were being destructive to the forest, whereas whereas and they go to the royal palace, and look, ask for, hey, look, this creature in the forest is keeping us from getting firewood, and really, like, no, they were being destructive of the forest. Like, they had firewood and they just felt compelled to just go down and go through and just be you know uh sold in the forest or something like that, that there would be more to the story, but something that would get He-Man and Battle-Cat to go and investigate what these villagers were saying. Um, like, thinking that okay, there's someone in the forest that's attacking the villagers who need or take or out on the lookout for necessities, and they could be no, they're dumping waste in the water. Like, no, I give them a good smacking for that. They're trying to burn trees, or taking things from animals and their environment, just things like that that would really kind of build that he's there to protect the forest. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, I know you need wood for shelter and things like that, but when you're cutting down unnecessarily, like, that's a problem. You're being wasteful of this stuff. Like, we need this stuff to be alive. Only take what you need, kind of thing.
Hmm.
But then I also thought at the same time is that Skeletor had sent a couple of evil warriors into like the same forest for a particular mission of some kind, wreaking havoc and destruction, but they're looking for something. And I hadn't quite thought about what it was, but then I thought about, like, the card art from Mossman, and that Triclops is looking for him, but he can't find him. I thought about making that kind of working that into the story somehow, of that Triclops is leading a group of evil warriors into the forest. Mossman is observing. Like, he stays quiet, and observes everybody who enters until he feels like, okay, this person's no threat to the forest, to my environment, to the animals, to whatever, and leaves them alone. But when he clearly sees that they're up to no good, they're wreaking havoc, they're hurting animals or destroying things, like, okay, that's when he steps in and they can't see him, they can't find him until it's too late. And that's what I like to think, that that you got two stories. You got the royal palace are being told that there's this guy hurting the local village, right there. That's why I was like, okay, that we could pull something from that here, that maybe like the evil warriors up to Triclops have all been taken out. Triclops is the last one, but couldn't find anybody responsible for it. So he goes back to Snake Mountain and says, look, Skeletor, look, we were, on the same path you told us to, but all our guys were taken out, and I don't know who it was. I couldn't see there, even with my various visions. I can't find the guy. There's someone out there taking us out, but I can't tell you who it is because he's not there. And that's when Skeletor was like, okay, if there's someone preventing my men from completing their mission, I need to flush this guy out. If there's clearly someone that cannot be seen, or someone that exists, like, okay, we got to flush this guy out, because I got to know if he can work for me, or find out who he is so we can destroy him.
I mean, that's kind of a cool aspect of that, is Skeletor looking at it of, I can bolster my ranks if this guy is good at,
Yeah.
like, avoiding being seen and taking people out. How What can he bring to me? Kind of, yeah. So I like the idea of Skeletor. It's like, okay, let's go ahead, and I will go and see what we can do here.
I'll see. This is how I would bring Stinkor in, is because I was thinking along, like, because Skeletor always looks for, like, he's an opportunist. So like, how can I use this to my advantage? And to not know who this mysterious person is, not knowing that he's a plant man, so to speak. Because I thought about either approaching it like he's pissed off that his men have been dismantled, and Triclops can't find the guy. Okay, this requires a little bit more strategy here. And he's like, okay, I've recruited someone a while back, and he's dwelling in the bottom of Snake Mountain for right now, and goes down there, and he's like, okay, the time has come. I need what you can do. And what I need you to do is go out to the Forbidden Forest, or wherever this may be. And I just need you to, I mean, wreak havoc with your scent. There's someone in this forest that is preventing my men from completing their mission. They can't find him. I can't find him. Obviously, he's a living being. He must smell. No one can stand your scent. You've resided here in the dark hemisphere for quite a while. I'm ready to unleash you on the light hemisphere. But
Mhm.
first up, I want you to go to the Forbidden Forest, wherever it may be, the Forgotten Forest, whatever it might be that the evil warriors have been. And I need it to be the same forest that He-Man would be going to as well.
Okay.
So now you've got investigation and a new threat coming to the same place, all going to connect to meeting Mossman in the center here. So then uh Stinkor takes off, and he's just wreaking havoc as he goes along. They're hearing reports of there's this intense odor in the air. It's killing animals, it's killing plants. Like, we can't breathe, we have to
That
leave our homes.
that's what I was thinking too. Well, his scent needs to be something where it's almost like you see a fly, and then as soon as it hits it, it's dead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seeing signs that this isn't just a
it's
you know
toxic.
yeah, it's like this is killing
It's not.
life.
It's not a deterrent. It's like it kills things.
Yeah, like, you really need to amp up. And we're not and I mean, we're talking about animals leaving, like, it's just maybe a panel to show that the path he's leaving behind him is destroying everything
I was
in
gonna
his
ask.
path.
We're kind of probably, what, about page 5 or
I'd
so?
say, yeah, because I'm, again, this is
It's got to
got to
be
be a
14 pages.
14 pages. So, the first page would be the villagers, at the royal palace, saying that, their their lives have been threatened because they're just trying to get firewood, and someone came out of the shadows, dismantled their wagons, took the wood back, sent the horses running, and it allude to the fact that Mossman knocked the hell out of all of them
Right.
and sent them back. And like, we don't have any wood to burn for our fires to keep us warm, or we can't build new houses, repair our homes because we don't have the wood to do it because someone's taking the wood from us and preventing us from cutting down trees. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's when Prince Adam's like, Father, maybe He-Man should investigate this. Like, Adam, good boy there. It's you excellent idea. See if you can't find him.
Yeah, so that's
And
first page. Second page is kind of getting into
the evil warriors like
evil
failed,
war
like
stuff.
Triclops returning to Snake Mountain. And you'd show like maybe Jitsu and Clawful and Beastman, like kind of like dealing with the wounds of being smacked around by
Hmm.
someone they couldn't see, and they're all trying to explain we don't know who it was.
Yeah,
And then Triclops being the leader is like, all right, what do you have to say? Like, Skeletor, I got three forms of vision. I couldn't find the guy.
yeah,
Like, he came out of nowhere, and I still couldn't find the guy. I don't know what it was. Was it a man? Was it a monster? I don't know.
yeah.
But he took out the master of martial arts, the master of beasts.
And
He
then
took out
page
Clawful.
page 3 or 4 is then Skeletor confronting Stinkor. So we're about page 4, 5. Stinkor
Yeah. Yeah,
starting to wreak
you
havoc.
would show panels like Skeletor going down to the lowest levels
Yeah.
of Snake Mountain to keep him away from everybody.
Honestly, I kind of like the idea of just having a page where you actually you see the whole picture. So it's like you have Skeletor and it shows him like he's drawn multiple times descending
Yeah.
the stairs, and then you have Stinkor at the bottom of the page kind of thing.
Yeah, just in a place that should be kind of alluded to that most of the crew of Evil Wars have never gone down that far.
Mm.
There've been no reason to.
Yeah.
But Skeletor realizes like I found someone who's like, I mean, like this is like unleashing an atom bomb. Like, but keep it secret. Don't just use it whenever. Like
Yeah.
this is the prime time to use something. You don't want to give the heroic warriors and He-Man a chance to figure, okay, he's got chemical warfare. We need gas masks. We need things to be able to breathe around this guy. You want it to be a shock, a stun.
Yeah.
So when he's out there, it's like they're not prepared.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure it comes at a massive surprise.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think showing shots of Skeletor descending deeper and deeper into Snake Mountain, seeing various dungeons and caves, and maybe seeing one or two other evil warriors, like watching Skeletor go like, where's he going?
Yeah.
Like not knowing that there's places in Snake Mountain that they've never been to. And then you see Stinkor in this dwelling. I don't want to make it like too like uh, overly dark and goth, man. But like just in a place where he's residing by himself. And I'm not gonna write him. I wouldn't want to write him as just kind of being this pathetic, like no one likes me, because he's kind of written like that in He-Man Smells Trouble, where like no one else can stand to be around him, and Skeletor sends him away.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is wasteful.
Come on, we gotta feel sorry for him.
Oh
he
God,
smells.
no, no. So I would like to have Syncor be someone who enjoys the solace. Like he enjoys being a solo warrior. Like he doesn't want to depend on others, and nor does he want others depending on him. Like he's like, okay, this guy has hired me. He's paying me to do nothing right now.
Right.
Just hang out here, and when the time has come, I will use you when I need you. And I think it's kind of a cool idea. It's like, no, let's not be wasteful with this. Let's use the prime time, and Skeletor hypes it up. Like, I need you to go and find whoever this is. Maybe he can join us. If not, destroy him. But I need you to figure out who is by flushing out the forest. He's in there somewhere. I must know who he is.
Yeah.
Friend or foe, I need to know. And then Stinkor's like, like he's been so eager to get out there and wreak havoc, like really like unleash and not hold back, and just destroy, like a mission of destruction. Like that's what Skeletor's about. Like your mission right now is destruction. Do what you want to do, but make sure you flush that forest out and figure out who it is that's taking out my men. And then he's on his path. He-Man and Battle Cat are on their path. And then that I would probably almost feel like I need to have He-Man and Stinkor battle first, because then I need Moss Man to kind of come in as like
Yeah.
the third who is the third man, and show up as the surprise to He-Man. So I would have Stinkor confront He-Man and Battle Cat, and they start to like as they're getting deeper into the forest, it's like barren, like there's nothing there. They could, they start looking around, and the smells there, and they start seeing a lot of plant life is just deteriorating. They're like, okay, all right, this isn't good, and just realizing that the stench is something's causing this. And then Stinkor, not knowing who he's after, sees He-Man because he's heard of He-Man, and like, okay, this is the prime opportunity to really get over with Skeletor. And confronts He-Man. They have this, they're squaring off, and they start to get closer, realize the stench is coming from him. And Battle Cat just kind of, I'd take him out of action, like he just, oh my god, like I can't breathe, and just it just knocks him out.
Yeah.
And then we got He-Man by himself trying to confront with his sword, is trying to take out Stinkor. Stinkor only has a shield. That's all he's got. So I'd like to find a way to use the one accessory
Yeah.
that he came with, and realize that, what, I just had this shield, and I'm going to defeat He-Man. And a couple of slashes at from the sword, and he blocks both of them. But because He-Man's very weak because he's not breathing properly, those sword strikes are not very effective anyway. But it's making Stinkor thinking like, man, I'm defeating He-Man. All I have is a shield. You're building him up as like, I'm the guy that defeated He-Man.
Yeah.
Like, really build his ego up. And then He-Man's on the ground, can't breathe. He's pretty much on the verge of, like, I would show like tears in his eyes from like the gas that's emitting from Stinkor is just like, it's he's pretty much out.
Yeah.
And it's looking like Stinkor's like, he's bragging about, I'd almost even like get ready, like he's like ready to put his foot on He-Man and stand triumphant in the forest, like, I did something Skeletor never could do. And then here comes Moss Man, and that's when you have their like a big fight. I would probably have like the last 2-3 pages, or like at least 2 full pages of panels dedicated to these guys squaring off. And that, as Mossman's getting closer, he's like touching plant life and repairing it. And Stinkor is like looking around and is like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like, I've just destroyed this forest. Like, they're starting to reemerge here. And Mossman's bringing life to the forest as he's getting closer and closer to Stinkor. So he's got his mace there, questioning, like, so you're the one that's been destroying this forest here. And Stinkor's like, so you must be the guy that's been taking out Skeletor's men. And and that's when you have their clash. Like, have fisticuffs, and then when it gets to where, like, the hand to hand combat maybe is not going any further. I kind of feel like that, but Stinkor tried to emit stronger blasts of scent from his body to really repel Moss Man.
Would you have any line of dialogue in there about Moss Man being able to withstand the stench and that not affecting him as much as it did He-Man and everything else?
I don't want to be a complete, like Moss Man knows selling it, but I want it to be like he is stronger than Moss Man, but because this is his first time encountering it, you kind of got to give him a moment to kind of get, like, okay, this is what I'm up against. Like, the sense is starting to get to me, starting to kind of, all right, I need to, uh, I don't say like power up kind of thing, but it's like he needs to really harness like the idea of like, okay, I need to strengthen or enhance my own, the natural environment scent of like the sense of trees, healthy plant life, um, without it coming off like,
What you were talking about earlier, not like beating you over the head with the environmentalist stuff.
It may just really need to all right, you know what, it really would, I think, need to boil down to the fact that yes, he can tolerate it because his own natural abilities of being able to enhance plant
What
life.
to reoxidize
Yeah,
plants is he's able to like
to
hit,
withstand it.
yeah, his oxygen intake is probably double of a normal human being or something.
Yeah, and given that He-Man is human, he's still susceptible to certain things.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna sit there and say that He-Man's skin's bulletproof or anything like that. Because He-Man still needs to have threats.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it becomes rather mundane when nothing can, well, like, who's gonna stop He-Man? Well, nobody can. Like, well, where's the
Yeah.
fun in that?
Yeah,
That's why.
you run into like the Superman ordeal. So, oh, we
Yeah,
have to use kryptonite, and that's it. And it's like,
yeah.
yeah,
But it makes sense because He-Man is a human being.
right,
And if he can't breathe, like He-Man can't breathe in space. I don't care what images you see in She-Ra and Earl Norton posters, he cannot breathe in space. So yeah, I like to think that yes, Stinkor takes him out, and Mossman is the only person who can confront Stinkor, go toe to toe with him in a physical fight. And Stinkor's sends as he's trying to strengthen it or like emit further blasts, like it makes Mossman have to probably strengthen his own body that can withstand it, and then I mean just knocks the hell out of him, like a couple of punches, maybe a good uppercut hit with the mace into the tree,
yeah,
knocking him unconscious or sends him running, you know, and he gets He-Man up and helps him breathe fresh air, revitalizes the Battle Cat and tells him who he is and what he does, and he's like, "Wait, are you the one that's been attacking villagers?" Like He-Man, I haven't been attacking anyone. The people that I have stopped were causing damage to the forest. They're taking more than they needed. They're taking outside of what they need out of necessity. They're being destructive to the forest. They're taking things they don't really need. They're doing it for sport, for
yeah,
bragging rights.
yeah,
Like I get you humans need things to live that come from this forest. You need plants, you need food from the forest. You hunt animals for food. I understand all that, but taking things for your sport to brag about or just to just be a bully to the environment, like, no, I'm not just sit quietly here and let man do that. So yes, the ones that told you I threatened their lives or beat them up, no, they were being destructive. So
yeah,
no, I'm not going to allow that. And he's like, I know who you are. You know, uh, you're the one that spared Skytree. I'd love to tie that in that Mossman was there, and I mentioned this before on an older episode too. Like Mossman would be aware of who He-Man is if you were to bring information. If I was doing something where it was like from the ground level, start building up, I would take the ideas from Filmation and many comics and mesh it all into one. But this is not strictly Filmation based. However, I feel like the mini comic, the Dragon's Gift, should be in continuity because it is a mini comic. So I'd like to throw back to that story that Mossman was like, I didn't know what to think about you because I was there the day that you were threatening to take down Skytree for Granomir, but you
yeah,
chose not to do it because you realized that trees are alive too. So that made me change my perspective on a lot of men already. And I never forgot your name because of what you did that day, and just really established like a genuine friendship between Mossman and He-Man from there on out.
yeah,
That Mossman knows, like, I know not all men are evil, but I know you're the best among them all because you're what you're willing to do. You understand it's sacred to protect animals. It's sacred to protect trees. Respect our environment. Don't take it for granted. You're here to protect this planet, not take from the planet.
yeah,
And then I just really, and not that it would end with like Mossman showing at the Royal Palace, like, well, I'm here to join, kind of thing, but just I would end it with them becoming allies, and that He-Man, you know, learns, like what he can do. Like, yeah, I reside in this forest. So I've stopped Skeletor's wars several times. They never saw me coming because I can camouflage myself with plant life.
yeah.
You know, and go ahead.
You, I was gonna say going back to having the fight and then Stinkor kind of backing off and going away. What kind of dialogue would you have written there? Because usually they have that. Uh, so you see it a lot with Skeletor. Either a lot of the times in mini comics is him just being like, well, and he disappears. What kind of dialogue would you write there for Stinkor as he's kind of tuck and tail and getting out of Dodge?
Hmm. I wish I had written some dialogue here for this because and if people like this a lot, they're probably getting used to me writing dialogue, and I didn't write any dialogue.
Yeah,
Like I was trying to come up with the stuff as quickly as I could. Um, it wouldn't be something where he's gonna run with his tail between his legs. I feel like it would need to be something along the lines of like you know yeah, he'll be back kind of thing. But um, I really don't know. I honestly, I don't think I'd give Stinker any dialogue. I think he would realize he's been outmatched, um, and he just takes off. and leaves, because then I kind of feel like I don't want it to be like you're going to get yours.
Yeah.
We're going to be forever enemies, and I'll come back and I'll destroy this forest before or whatever the case may be. Stinkor's been not been treated very good in general, and I feel like I wouldn't want to give him any demeaning dialogue. I feel like it would be quite minimal outside of thinking that he beat He-Man. Not even Skeletor could do that. I did it. Um, just kind of a humbling, like, all right, I got to get. I just got my ass kicked, and I probably would even have him like gone. Like when He-Man and Mossman are talking, they look, and Stinkor's gone.
Yeah.
Like, don't even see him leave. Maybe Skeletor like was watching in his cauldron or in the hover screen, and just like, all right, I'm getting him back here to Snake Mountain,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But I would have him leave, and they both look, and well, I don't think we've seen the last of him, but realize that Skeletor has an even bigger threat amongst his ranks. We
It's like
have to be prepared for
I
this.
don't see him anymore, but I can still smell him.
Yeah, I think something like that would be a fun way to end it. Like I could see He-Man saying something like that, but I would not have it be something where you're laughing at Stinkor because he
Yeah.
smells or something like that. Just like in the Sweet Smell of Victory in 2000X, like Stinkor farts at the end of the episode and Skeletor laughs like, oh my god. It's just like, why?
Yeah.
Even with the actual fart sound effect, it wasn't like you're watching his ass. It's just like, and the gas comes out
Would
and
it have been
Skeletor.
better if they would have used one of the parts from Rocco?
Every fart in Rocco is funny though. Like, I don't want to see any He-Man character farting. Like, I'm sure they piss and all that stuff, like we all do. But I just don't need to see the being alluded to that Stinkor farts and stuff like that. I just
Yeah. Yeah.
he's not a walking fart joke. That's why I think that's how they felt at Filmation. Like they refused to put Stinkor in there because they thought he was a fart joke. And it's like we're not doing this. We're not doing this. I almost threw up right then and there. And I've never understood that. Like a
Mm.
character that people can't breathe around because he emits this horrible odor that would be very destructive to everything around him. Like, why that's a bad idea. I've
Yeah.
never understood that.
It makes me
And
think too that what if with the action figure instead of having that patchouli smell, what if they really did make it where he just smelled really bad, like really bad?
I think it'd be kind of hard for kids to play with him then, because even though I thought the patchouli smell stunk, it wasn't so offensive that I didn't want to play with him.
Yeah.
And plus I always knew he was in the toy box. He would leave that scent, and for years that scent stuck to him. And if he was in the toy box or with other figures, they would kind of smell like him for a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But you always knew he was around because I could smell him in the toy box. But I'm
Did
glad they
that
didn't go.
did that smell would it when you're playing with the figures? Because I didn't own I didn't have a Stinkor as a kid.
Mhm.
I may have had a hand me down Moss Man, but I think by that point the scent had faded quite a bit.
Yeah.
But when you were playing with these figures, would that smell be on your hands at all, or
I
do you
remember
remember?
being attached to because I don't remember having to like wash my hands before I ate or did anything because I got stinkors like scent all over my hands.
Right.
Because I just don't remember that being the case, but I thought it was fun to smell him. It's, ah, he stinks, and holding him up to any adult that was around and making them smell him, but not so much where it would cling to
Yeah.
my clothing or my hands. So I
Right.
don't remember that happening. I didn't own a Mossman as a kid. I only saw Mossman once. Uh, my mom's best friend from childhood had two daughters, and they were big She-Ra fans, and I went over to play with them, and they had the Crystal Castle, a bunch of She-Ra figures, and Mossman. I don't know why, but I thought, oh my god, they've got Mossman, but I don't remember him smelling
Yeah.
at all. So I wasn't aware he even had a scent until I got much older, and I can't remember when I got my own. I think the scent had went away when I got one mint on card, and the back was cut so you could take the mini comic out. The pine scent was still there.
Yeah.
So oh my god, like so this is what he was supposed to smell like. So I don't know how pungent it was. Maybe some of our listeners, if you had either one of them as kids, if the scent ever stuck to your hands, and you
Yeah.
like, oh my pizza tastes like patchouli. Oh, it's awful,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. It'd be kind of interesting to know. But yeah, not that I can recall. It was that not that bad, but just fun enough to where like, yeah, this guy stinks, and you could buy it in your Avengers playing with the toys that, oh, He-Man can't breathe around this guy. He stinks.
Yeah.
Smells like a hippie.
Yeah.
You know, you know. But I've come across a few people over the years that smell like patchouli, and I'm always like, oh, I smell stinkor. It's like, oh,
Right.
it's this guy over here. Like, why? You know.
'Cause, no one likes him, man, and he's sad and he's lonely.
I'll tell you this right now: there would not be a sad, lonely character in the mythology if I was ever writing it. I'm telling you, like, not Snout Spout, not Orko, not Extendar, not people who like to eat and drink a lot at fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
Uh, Nobody, everyone would be a badass. I'm not saying that they would all be perfect. They would have their moments and their flaws, but there'd be none of this moping around shit. I don't belong here. Like, nah. Look, everyone's got muscles. They got powers.
What's with like the what's with like the Philly accent you just did
I
there?
just thought it was funny to do. No
Yeah.
particular reason. Like, I don't belong here. You know, it's just I think I was just quoting Adrian from the first Rocky. I don't
Yeah.
belong here, kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like it's unnecessary. Like, you can tell a lot of great stories with character flaws. With certain fears, or they freeze in battle, and they're afraid, or their power didn't work in this particular moment, and I don't know. I just feel like you don't need to rely on people characters because they look odd. Like, you can do it in a way where it's like, the whole idea of like, don't judge a book by its cover, but like, Snout Spout, it mopes, Extendar sometimes feels like, I'm not a hero. I was like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. Like, dude, you're the tallest of the heroic warriors. Like, I don't want to hear this shit. It's so unnecessary. When you're looking at like a lineup of the most alpha and apex of men and women, why would anyone believe that, I don't think I belong here with you guys. I'm a wiener, a limp one at that. It's just like, dude, why do we need this? So they can rise up, and they got bodies that most men would kill to have. They got powers that anyone would love to have. You're like, I'm a limp dick. There's a cloud over their head, and it's like, this is
Yeah, just
dumb.
Charlie Brown in it, huh?
Yeah, like, no, this is Masters of the Universe, for God's sake. No. And Orko, I would write him like consistent, like as someone who grew up with Adam. He shouldn't be a child when he was established as having grown up with Prince Adam in the royal court. So he would be 18, maybe even 22 years old. Maybe a few years older than Adam, and
Yeah.
maybe Tron's aged differently too. Maybe I just feel like it's so unnecessary to have
but
him.
that would kind of work into it. If Trollin's aged differently, then Orko could theoretically be the thing that doesn't grow up, though. So
Yeah, but I also feel like for someone who is supposed to be one of the most powerful wizards from his home world, needs to be a lot more mature, and not someone whose feelings are hurt. And, well, I guess I better run away again because Man at Arms got a stick up his ass about this magic trick that he didn't think was very impressive.
yeah,
Oh, I gotta go now.
yeah.
Like, no, we're not doing that shit either. Because think about it, man. Like, if when Orko's tricks do work or his powers are in sync, there's nothing Man at Arms could do about it.
Right.
You don't want to piss him off on the wrong day. It's like, all right, you know what, Duncan? All right, the gloves are off, and and
Beats the
just,
shit out of him.
yeah, it's just like, no, I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah.
Like, I've done nothing to him. He's just sitting around just thinking he's better than me and better than everyone else because he comes up with, oh, look what I come up with. Oh, how convenient! I came up with my new shit stain ray. It removes every shit stain imaginable. It's just like, that's another character that's like, dude, you guys are made one dimensional and it's annoying.
Yeah.
Like, there should be more to Man at Arms as opposed to just sitting on his ass making up, things that conveniently fall into the story. And Tila, she's just like, okay, we get it. I'm not going to go down that road again with her.
Yeah. I like the remade story that we had. We keeping Mossman there, keeping Stinkor in there, and just less cubs being lost and separated from their mothers.
We don't need any of that stuff. We just need a few panels establishing that there's havoc being wreaked as he's heading towards the location where Mossman is residing. I mean, you could have a nice little montage with no dialogue, maybe a little bit of narration, villages, various terrains of mountains. They're all succumbing to the scent as he is walking towards. Like Skeletor's like, no, I don't want you driving or flying anywhere. Walk, destroy everything in your path.
Mm.
Plant life, humans, animals. I don't care what it is. Leave your mark on your way there.
I want to go back to real quick because we were talking about how lethal and deadly his scent could be, and I want to, because in the story you're talking about, He-Man not being able to breathe, Battle Cat being taken out. I think that it sort of, it's strong, but it degrade. I think it being lethal is more effective towards smaller things like insects and shit like that. Like, obviously humans, they can withstand it to a degree, but it's still very much overpowering. I want to look at it as like it's deadly to flies and those types. Whatever else, maybe like small birds or something could succumb to the scent as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess in terms of like,
I guess
it's
I didn't want, I wanted to go back to that because I didn't want it to be like, oh well, if these guys are talking about his scent is deadly, then how could He-Man and anyone else stand to be around him? So maybe we pull back from that. Maybe
well, I mean, I'm not literally. Again, I don't want people to think that I'm not a big fan of killing the Master Universe at all. Outside of robots and maybe some monsters and beasts and things like that, I don't need to see anyone die. Period.
All right, so
Um,
from my end of things, I'll walk back the comment of it would kill stuff like flies and
well,
everything.
yeah, that's just kind of like a one. But even then, I feel like if this was made in the '80s, they wouldn't want to even see a fly get hurt.
Right.
But it would need you would need to see the fly, like, and the dialogue would say that fly's just been knocked out. Like there's
Yeah.
something in the air that's affecting insects, animal life. Everyone's just running from it. They can't stay in it, so everyone just runs from it. Even if we were to include a couple of other heroic wars that go into the forest with He-Man, and I don't know.
Would you though? I feel
It,
like it
I
would be too much.
well, and I thought about that earlier too. I was like, you know what? It seems, and I'm always about trying to maximize the roster in stories because I feel like so many characters don't get used that much, and that's one of my downfalls of coming of the ideas. It's just like, oh, I want to see this character. I want to see this character too. Like, I can't put everyone in here,
Yeah.
So I think keeping it minimal because the focus is Stinkor and Mossman. And I wouldn't even include, definitely wouldn't include the use of battle bones. I wouldn't include, you know, outside of maybe including them in the royal court
I think
for
that would
like
be the best
that would be
shot.
the only time. And I would make this a lone mission for He-Man to establish his friendship with Mossman and confront Stinkor head on, and make it focused on these three characters, and that is it. Not Cyclone, who's available at that time, uh, not
Which
Bravado.
you're rocking the tank.
I
Yeah,
am Cyclone's radar on my chest here.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
That's really awesome.
I
But
wish. I
yeah,
remember,
I was just, if you're gonna include characters like that, like you said, that shot of in the palace would be the ideal space
yeah,
to just little Easter egg kind
yeah.
of
Just
thing.
remind kids at that time, hey, this character is available to buy.
Yeah.
Look how awesome he
You could
looks.
even put just like a little bit of text right above the characters, like in stores now. No,
Yeah.
no.
But that's what people how they look at it. But I remember when I was thinking about it earlier today, I thought maybe having a moment where Cyclone accompanies He-Man, doesn't really get involved, but like is telling He-Man, like, according to my radar, like there is someone in this vicinity, but I'm not making it out, but I'm telling you, like, he's there.
Yeah.
He-Man, Battle Cat are down there. There's no one here. I can't see anyone.
Now, honestly, like Cyclone would be a great counterbalance to Stinkor
Yeah.
because he could, spin around and filtrate the
Yeah.
scent and disperse it elsewhere, kind of thing.
That's something too, like, I mean, we really break it down. Cyclone becomes damn near as strong as He-Man, or
He's up
not
there.
as, but he's right below there. Like,
Didn't he
you
win
know,
the Kumite that we had?
he
Yeah,
did, because we're talking about a guy who can turn himself to a human tornado. We don't know what size. The guy's got a radar built into his chest to alert him of anyone in his presence.
yeah,
So you can't sneak up on him at all.
yeah. Only Matt Hardy could slap the tornado. So.
Yeah.
Oh
If
yeah.
he stops eating his McDonald's. But
Uh, oh man. Now I'm just thinking of the Paul London making fun of him shit, where he's just like,
I watched
he
that
was
about a
like,
month
I
ago.
was, I was at the top of the dirt sheets, right above John Cena, in his movie. I need to look that up again. Sorry.
It's still on there, but yeah, I watched it about a month ago, just
Yeah.
for fun.
Yeah, I think Cyclone just having a cameo there, I wouldn't have him heavily involved in the story.
No, because I really want to establish like that the threat affects He-Man and Battle Cat,
Yeah.
your prime heroes, the strongest heroes. Like if they're taken out, what does that mean for everybody else? And you want to kind of paint the picture that He-Man's like really struggling to stay conscious. Battle Cat's knocked out because I just really want to build the threat.
Yeah.
That my best friend and closest ally's been taken out because he can't breathe. It's knocked him unconscious or whatever the case may be, or and then He-Man's struggling to stay conscious, and that's when Mossman shows up, kind of like Swamp Thing in Return of Swamp Thing, like shows up, right when shit's, oh my god, it's getting really really bad now, and then here he comes and with his mace and just beating the shit out of Stinkor, and Stinkor is like blocking certain and just throwing punches back, and just the battle of the sense, in the forest, and
Yeah.
Mossman would rise victorious, of course, but
Yeah.
it's all about getting them over, making you want to buy the other one that you don't have, and that Stinkor's not just, I got thrown in flowers. Oh my god, you know, it it's
Yeah.
just a bit demeaning to the character, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
Well,
lot of fun to be had with them, and it's just unfortunate neither one of them have not been. They were treated okay in MYP. They were, Mossman was overpowered way too much, I thought. Even though I love the look of the character, his portrayal, I just felt like and it was natural to pit him against Evil Seed.
hmm,
Um, but it'd have been kind of cool to have seen him like take on Stinkor in that too. But
yeah. Well, there is the remake of the Stench of Evil. So we will move on from that. We will get to questions and comments. So if you guys are here, I put it there in the chat, live chat earlier. Toss some questions in there for us. I'm going to read some of the comments that we've gotten. This goes to Talent for Trouble, our She-Ra episode that we did a couple weeks ago before we took the break. Casey Duncan, good take on Orko. Brian Clifton, this goes back to Ultraman. I got hooked on Ultraman after watching Ultraman Orb, a more modern series. The classic series are great, but show their age. Ultra 7 is my favorite original era series. All the box sets from Mill Creek are pretty cheap. It's a bit of a rabbit hole because I mentioned that I kind of would like to watch some original Ultraman because I got to thinking just, kaijus and Power Rangers and everything. Like, yeah, Ultraman should be on the list. Mike Lomax, great review of Talent for Trouble. Watched it before watching the live stream a week later, that is. Just been enjoying the good weather and watching Miami Vice.
hey, I love hearing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like you. I am finding a lot of the present TV and films I just watch once and never go back or just don't care about. And then said, looking forward to the next episode. Terrell White met the voice actress that played Jim, Samantha Newark. Met her at Wizard World Comic Con in Madison, Wisconsin. Had her sign a copy of the complete series of Jim and the Holograms. She was a total sweetheart and still beautiful to this day. It would be awesome to meet her.
I have no idea what she looks like. I've never looked up any of the voice actors from Jim.
Yeah, I actually haven't. I'll get a picture of her before we wrap up the show.
But that's cool. I'm glad you had a positive experience with her, and it wasn't like how it was with me and Alan Oppenheimer.
Yeah, and also too, after I read this next comment, I want to talk about your experience at Heroes Con because that was pretty devastating. So this comes from Grayskull Cannon. Hey guys, been watching y'all for a few years now, and I have great love for this property as well as you do. I'm Gen X, so I played with the vintage figures. I was there at the beginning. But missed all the lines in between until Origins. I did not know about New Adventures or Classics. And we've talked about this before, that the Classics line was something that it seemed like most people
Yeah.
weren't even aware of. Um, I know you are very passionate about the older lines, but I am just as passionate about Origins because this is my reintroduction into the line. I say this because we need your support as much as the older lines and your support, especially Tyler. I love your stories. I hope you can have a change of heart. And it's going to be disappointing. Tyler won't have a change of heart on the Origins line, but
Yeah, it's just mainly, and look, I appreciate that. I love your feedback, and I get it. And look, well, I bought Origin figures for my oldest nephew for a brief period. You know, he enjoyed them. He can play with them from time to time and things like that. So, look, after someone would say, "Well, if it was so bad, why'd you buy it for your nephew?" Like, no, look, I thought it was well enough to buy them for him, but for me to repurchase these figures that I felt like were lacking in quality in terms of heads, body proportions, the most repulsive of many comics, and just showed no signs of ever getting better. Um, no, it's just not for me. I'm glad you and others have found a passion to collect the Origins line, that Mattel continues to put out vehicles and play sets and concept characters and all these other things. Like, I'm glad you guys have got that and that you're into that. And I hope you continue to enjoy and support it as much as I've supported, the classics line, even though I was pissed off a lot about how it was handled, as were others. I wasn't the only one. A lot of people were quite vocal about it, and got pretty nasty about it and things like that too. And but it's just, if I felt the qualities there, I would support it. But I also felt like, you know what, it takes a lot to impress me because I'm very opinionated about the visuals, because I'm spoiled by the art of Earl Norham and William George, Errol McCarthy, Kevin Sharp, Axel Jimenez, who does the current card art. I won't settle for anything less. I don't like slubby He-Man artwork. I want the best of the best. I want everything to look badass. And that includes the figures. If the figures don't look badass, you're not going to convince me otherwise. It's just not going to happen. But uh, if it keeps you coming to us and seeking out more Master of the Universe on in every outlet, from comic books to magazines to the animated series, checking out new adventures, or at least the mythology, the toy lines and things like that, that's great. If it's helping you expand your horizons about He-Man, then yes, it serves a purpose and a positive one at that. So that's probably about the highest praise you're going to get from me in terms of Origins. Because we had one of our listeners approach us at PowerCon, and he really wanted me to look at Clan Champ. Like, was it horrible? No. Did I want to buy one? Absolutely not. It's not there. Like,
yeah,
it's just, um it's just not for me, guys. It's just
yeah.
really not. And I'm not going to fault anybody. And I say this wholeheartedly. If you collect Origins, that's great. I'm not saying this to be politically correct or some sort of fake phony message, and then behind the scenes, like, Nathan, did you believe that bullshit I said? Like, no, I mean, come on, guys, seriously. If you like it, I think it's great.
Yeah.
You know,
We've always stood by that mentality. It's I mean, even when the Netflix shows were coming out and people were fighting about that, for as much of a headache that it gave us, if people were watching that and enjoying it, then that's awesome. Anyone that watches anything, whatever it may be, if you're watching it and you are enjoying it, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what other people think. It matters what you think and if you enjoy it. And it's
I mean, yeah, I've championed the live action film as far back as I can remember. People
yeah,
love to shit on it and make fun of it and say it's not an attorney and Battle Cat Norco and all these other lame excuses to sit there and say the movie didn't deliver. Um, but like, it doesn't take away my love for that film and that they got it right. That, yeah, they had a shoestring budget and all this other crazy shit behind the scenes, and I still think they got so much right that I'm like, no, I don't. You guys can shit on all you want. It's not changing my mind, man. Right here, it's just I think it's a wonderful film, wonderfully
right.
acted, great special effects. The makeup and costumes are phenomenal. I don't care it takes place on Earth, because that was the budget that they had. I think today the movies that sit there and make up these really bad decisions just because they want to be cheap or think that they're being unique and funny, like, I mean, look at what Michael Bay did with Transformers. Just one example. Like he took the property and just wanted to do whatever he wanted with it. That's not what Gary Goddard and the crew who made that live action film back in the 80s, that's not what they were about. They still kept the core cast. The personalities were all there, and it came across on the screen wonderfully. But they don't do that with the current mythologies of Turtles and GI Joe and Transformers and everything else that keeps coming out. And they won't do it with the new He-Man movie. They will not honor any of that stuff. They just want to dazzle you with cameos and hope you'll ignore the fact that it's on Earth again. It'll be played for laughs, bad ones at that, and hope you all ignore it or that you'll laugh at the bad jokes. That's how I think it's going to happen. But if you like it, that's great. Just don't come thinking that we're going to be like, oh my God, I bought the movie poster, I bought the new toys too. And all that. No, it's just not happening here, guys. But if you like it, enjoy it, reach out and tell Nathan because he'll watch it. And
Yeah,
he'll
I will have a review for it when it comes out because I'll watch it and I'll give just honest feedback on it. Like the Revelation cartoon, like when we did the review on that, and it was all of us like, yeah, that show wasn't great, but there were parts of it that I could pick out and give some positive feedback on, but it wasn't a lot, sure, but that's it's like you can like things and not try to force your opinion to convince someone else that you have to like this too. And
yeah.
it's like,
No,
that's when
because
it
I
that's
I
when it
felt
gets
like that's what
away
a
from
lot a
people.
lot of the people who were all about that show, or I think that was one of our highest viewed episodes, and people thought we were idiots for pointing out why we didn't like it.
Mm.
And that show has had no lasting impression.
Yeah, people
And
don't talk about it
people
at
don't
all.
talk about it. It's not like it's continued to be celebrated for everything it did. It came and went like a fart in the wind, like a lot of the stuff does. No one cares. And there's some of our closest buddies who work with us on the podcast like certain elements of it, and like I'd be a real shit to say, well, I can't be friends with you anymore because you're like a shitty cartoon. Like that doesn't work that way, people.
Yeah.
Like I have to respect that, much like they have to respect that. No, I absolutely hated it. There was nothing redeeming about it, and I don't ever want to be witness to it again. Anyone involved with it, like I know it was a paycheck for a lot of them. They weren't going out of the way to make something really, really bad. You have to blame the people at Netflix and the people who were in charge of actually making the show. Like we want this in there, we want that in there, write it this way, write it that way. They're the ones responsible, not the voice actors, because it was just Kevin Smith hiring his buddies, and who doesn't want to help their buddies get
Yeah.
paychecks?
Yeah, I think we mentioned this before. If they backed up a truckload of money, or it's like, hey, we want you to do this. Who do you want? It's like, all right, yeah, I'll bring a couple friends along, get a paycheck. Everybody does it.
Yeah, it's there's nothing wrong with that, but at the time too, it's like He-Man's my favorite thing, and you don't want it to be treated with disrespect and by people who clearly don't really care about the property. They're just doing it because it's a property we have access to, and we're just going to throw it out there
Well,
because it's product to be viewed when we need on stream. That's what streaming services are so bad about, is that they'll throw anything because they need content. Doesn't matter if it's good or not. Just throw it out there. We have got to fill this content up.
yeah, yeah,
So
it's turned into that.
not to say it would be any better if it was released as a theatrical film where they had time to work on things, or if there's going to be a television series where it couldn't be, where they could just kind of get feedback. Okay, ratings were really good for this one particular episode because they seem to really like this particular character in this story arc. Maybe we can go back to it in season two. Let's say it's all released at once because we got to get we just things for people to watch. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter.
Yeah,
That's one of the faults with streaming today. It's like it doesn't matter if it's good or not. It fills a hole, and that's what they want. They want to fill all the holes, and if it happens to be good, then hey, they like the Stranger Things stuff. Let's make more of that.
yeah,
You know,
and then take
so
forever at that to wrap it up. It's like Stranger Things. It's been great for the most part, but it's been so long in between now seasons getting released that it's dragged out, and I'm like, I
yeah,
don't
all the
care.
kids will be in their 30s and have to de-age
Yeah,
them to
it's
look like
like,
Jeff
yeah,
Bridges and Tron Legacy. It's going to look, you know,
yeah,
just
uh,
but it's just to wrap it up too, like I have nothing else to say. I kept thinking I had maybe something else to like put a nice bow on our, you know, on that, but I'm just picky about this stuff. Nathan likes what see Nathan's very particular about wrestling and a few other things. I'm very particular about He-Man and a few and other things as well. And everyone listen to this. You're particular about certain things as well. You maybe want Spider-Man to look a certain way. You want animes to look a certain way. You want, superhero movies to look a certain way. Maybe you like horror movies. You want Jason to look a certain way. We all have our particulars. He-Man just has to be at the top of my list,
Yeah.
and I will not settle and back off. My I planted my flag on this hill. That's where I live and die on as a fan. And there's all this stuff down. We don't have time to go, and we're not interested in doing any of that. But we're all no different. We just have we favor other things, but probably with the same amount of passion, maybe different levels of passion.
Yeah.
But the perspective there is like there's something that you really like and you don't want it altered. It may not be He-Man, may not be Transformers, may not be Star Wars, but maybe it's Star Trek, and that's what you're locked into. And you know what? God bless you, because if that's how you see Star Trek or Star Wars, who are we, any of us, to take that away from you and say you're wrong? Because this is how you view Star Wars. This is how you view Star Trek. This is how you view GI Joe.
Yeah.
This is how I view He-Man. That's how Nathan views wrestling. We want it done a certain way because when it's done right for so long or for a period of time, like they got it right, and then someone comes along and decides, they pull their pants down and cook up some turds and sit all over it and like I'm gonna leave my mark on it. There it is, right there. Then
And then Man at Arms comes along with his shit
a
stain
shit stain
remover.
remover, like how convenient, and
JSP with a comment, and I actually looked it up. 41 years ago today, the last Starfighter came out.
Holy
That's
shit.
that's something you and I have
We
been.
talked about discussing that. Yeah. Yes, we
Yeah,
did.
yeah. We still need
Yeah.
to do that at some point.
A very fun film. I had a hard time as a kid watching on everything on TBS. I always felt like it was longer than it really was.
Well, I mean,
Because
you add in all the commercial breaks too, and it
yeah,
does. Yeah.
yeah. But that was on TBS a lot as a kid, and that's when I would watch it. I would really get involved with like the first maybe hour, and then for whatever reason I would just lose interest. I never finished it on TV. I would see like maybe the parts of it. I don't know. It just didn't hold my interest as much as that. I would always start watching it thinking, all right, it's on. And I just would lose interest like deeper into the film. I don't know why, because it's a wonderful movie, beautifully acted, great concept. And who wouldn't love the idea of an arcade machine, like being like a way of testing, like, okay, this guy's really good. We're going to use him,
Yeah.
you know?
It just how it goes along the way too. He's I don't know what, I'm not sure about any of this, and then shit really goes wrong, and he's forced to
Yeah. To
be in
be,
that role. Yeah.
yeah, it's a great concept, fun movie. Yeah. Hell of a movie.
Let's see. Gary Buchanan saying NPC forever, which I've thought about that. It's like, yeah, Master Powercast just sometimes just calling it NPC. I really like that.
I was gonna say, what is NPC? Like, oh, that's us.
That's the show.
I'm glad to hear you say that, man. I love that. I really appreciate any of the feedback we get. Anyone takes time to let us know something of the thoughts, even if it's just, hey, good job, or something you really liked in particular. It
I
means a
really
lot to
hated that.
us. Hey, if you did, hey, you wanted us to know that, and you know what? I give you a handshake right now. It's like, thanks for letting us know that you really hated what we came up with today, or whatever the case may be.
Pink Panther. Sorry, that's a O, not a E. Actually, said that Stench of Evil is one of my favorite mini comics.
Well, and what we just said, if you
I,
saw it, got that as a kid,
yeah, I think that might tie into a lot nostalgia based. Like,
yeah,
just maybe it was the first mini comic you read or learned how to read. When you first learned how to read, maybe it was the first mini comic you actually read. Or there's so many variables that can.
Yeah, and I get that, and I didn't hate it as a kid. I liked it as a kid. It didn't have a lasting impression on me like Clash of Arms and Hordax mini comic did, but I didn't dismiss the comic. I thought it was cool to see Mossman and Stinkor in action. It just it ended up getting lost for whatever reason, and when I got to view it again as an adult, it wasn't as good as I remembered it. I wasn't impressed with the art because I'm not knowing at the time that Larry Houston drew that one too.
Yeah.
When he drew like my favorite one, and then here's another one he drew, and it's like, this is not as good. And then there's others down the line. Oh my god, he kicked so much ass with that one. So, but I get that, and you know what? That's great. and hopefully we didn't offend you with our thoughts on it and our new take on it. But I think it's great that you liked it and that you came forth and said, you know what, you did like it. You know,
Yeah, that's the thing
own
too.
it.
Yeah, never be ashamed of what
Hell
you
no.
enjoy. Don't be like us as kids, too afraid to be like, I like Power Rangers because you're worried about getting made fun of when you're 9 years old. That still
Yeah.
makes no sense to me. But Brad
Yeah. It,
Collins. Oh no, go ahead. Finish your
I was
thought.
gonna say we're all a lot more accepting of that stuff when we all come from different backgrounds and realizing, like, you know what, it's okay to like a movie that everyone shits on, or it's okay to like a comic book or a character that everyone. Like I said, I support every He-Man character, like Snout, Spout, Orko, Extendar, Ninjor, like people characters that people say they don't belong in He-Man. Like the hell you say?
Yeah, like Extendar got a lot of shit from
Yeah,
people when the vintage dropped. Or like, what they? I guess for a lot of people, that's when the line had jumped the shark for them, so to
and
speak.
what sucks too is that '85 was their most profitable year, and they go into '86 with everyone's got brand new tooling, from the Snake Men to the Horde to the new heroic warriors of Rock On, Stone Dart, Snout Splat, Rio Blast, and Extendar all got brand new tooling, no reused parts, because there was like this line just keeps growing. It gave Mattel like more incentive and confidence. Like, hey man, let's put more into this line, and then it just drops. And I'm like, I hate that. It's
Yeah,
like had it not happened, imagine what the '87 way would have looked like. You know,
yeah,
now I love the '87 way, but like just imagine in terms of tooling what they could have done.
right.
Had 86 been more profitable. So
Brad Collins. What comics are next on your hit list? Are you planning to go through all the not so good ones and talking about the makeover, not just review, but just mini comic makeovers?
yeah, we talked about doing the fastest draw in the universe like we reviewed it, I think, not too long ago, because Nathan pointed out to me that was something we'd
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
But the
it
point of
wasn't
that was
too
to
long
make
ago.
it over, and I'd even started writing a brand new title for it and everything, and making the Rio Blast like the sole focus of that story, and even kind of using that Earl Norm poster with He-Man and the Beam Blaster and Artillery and Hordak and Rio Blast, kind of trying to make a story out of that into this brand new story where Rio Blast is not a cowboy stereotype, that he's a law enforcer from another galaxy that comes to Eternium and wants to help out. And I wanted to
Hey,
make
man,
this.
you can't spoil that. We got to save it for later.
Oh no, no, no! But that's his origin though. He comes from another guy. That's in the style guide. I'm not spoiling anything there.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, no, no. But the idea is that he this would be like his first mission, as like, all right, hey, look, I have experience in what you guys are looking to do. Let me go in first.
okay. I thought you were gonna just go into this
No,
is
no,
what I
no,
wanted to do. It's
no.
like, what are you doing, man? We got to
The
save
only
it.
thing is, I gave it a new title and all that stuff too, so we can save that for. But just because it was on that I used that Horde poster. I was like, the Horde were going to be the sole villains in that story as well. It would be kind of Western like, but not full out Western,
Yeah,
because I like the cop aspect, and or like a law enforcer. What would a law enforcer be like? In the He-Man universe, since they it never really had that before. So, um, yeah, it's all saved on here.
yeah.
So
And then
maybe we can get around to doing that at some point too.
Eye of the Storm was another one that we had
Eye of
on
the
the
Storm was
list.
another one. That again, it's portraying Snout Spout as just this woe was me. That if you look at the style guide, like that, Snout Spout was a peasant that was captured by Horak and transformed into being one of his new horsemen, and like that you could be played that could be played with right there, like thinking like, okay, I've been transformed, as what am I supposed to do? I don't want to do what this guy's telling me to do, like, and then see it's like, oh my god, I can take what Horta did to me and turn it into something better. you know that's kind of the idea I had with that, is like, okay, you've been transformed into this cybernetic elephant, but I'd like to think him as even an elephant man to begin with, not a human being who was given a metallic elephant head. Like, no, 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 this is a much like how we have a merman, a
Yeah,
lobster man. Like, why can't we have an elephant man, you
yeah,
know who's transformed into this robotic or cybernetic elephant, and is forced to do the bidding of the horse? Like, no, I don't want to do this shit, and decides to take these enhancements and use them for good.
yeah.
So that's what I would do without going. That's just kind of what I had an idea of. I'm just that's an example. Like no more of this. Feel sorry stuff. The Cosmic Key. I can't remember if we ever did much on
I,
that one in terms of retelling that one. I think we just said this sucks and what it should have been.
I would have to look at it because I think
Yeah,
that may have been under the mini comic makeover title, but
yeah,
I also have no recollection of how that episode even went. So yeah, that
yeah.
would
I don't.
probably be something
I
to
just everyone
redo.
agreed that it was one of the worst because it's not only because it was so short, but the story was just. I mean, just
Yeah,
repulsive, like and a complete waste. And again, that should have been an encouragement to get anyone who picks up any of the three movie figures to go see the movie. Like that should have been the prequel or like the setting up the events of the movie because the movie starts. The Skeletor's already won. That should be setting up what happened. So when the minute the credits finish rolling and Skeletor walks into Grayskull, you knew exactly what happened before that by buying Blade, Sarad, or Gore.
yeah,
Like they all should have been packaged with that, that kind of pre-movie or pre-story mini comic to lead up to the movie, or having a backstory like He-Man's first interaction with Blade, He-Man's first interaction with Sorod, and then Gwildor building the Cosmic Key, Evelyn befriends him, steals it, and then we're off and running, kind of thing. So
yeah.
there's different ways you could go about it. There are some, I guess, that we really thought about we could probably redo, but like there's some ideas like I'm not a big fan of Tila being a clone of the sorceress. I don't like that idea at all. I think our friend James loves that idea. He couldn't be more wrong. Um, yeah. Yeah, four out of 10, James. 4 out of 10.
Uh,
But but I'm like there's a lot of good ones. I think we've been fortunate like the obelisk. That's another like clunker. Just a silly story. Nothing wrong with the artwork because Alcala's artwork is beautiful, but it's just a bad story. It doesn't make any it's just kind of it's there.
yeah,
Um but me that's something me and Nathan can talk about privately and we'll start, you know, setting up
formulating
more of
some
those.
ideas.
Yeah. But I'm glad you liked them.
So here's a comment from Crom's Mountain. Tyler, you go ahead and read that one.
I like the idea of giving Snout Spout a kind of a Yog Kosa backstory, like from the oh yeah, yes, yeah. Well, and Tower of the Elephant's is a great story too, and every Conan fan knows what it is. Um, wait, put it up again. That comment.
Mhm.
I like to give Snout kind of a where well, see with Yakosa, he's a power for anyone who doesn't know, he's a powerful being who him and his race come to Earth and they go extinct and they have all great knowledge and magic and wisdom and he's the last of his kind. He's captured. He's duped by an evil sorcerer into giving out some very vital information, and is captured for his efforts. Um, Snoutspout, I'd see him more, like I said, is just an innocent bystander on Etheria that Hordak sends his men out to round up. I need test subjects. I want more. I need more wars to invade Eternia. Give me whoever you can find for test subjects and grabs this one particular elephant man on Etheria and not capable of fighting or is scared to fight or just is beaten down by the horde and is forced into doing evil deeds and against his own will and hates it and thinks that what he's doing is absolutely wrong and then realizes I can take what Horak's done to me and use it for good. That's how I see that character. Be kind of interesting what you would come up with in terms of making him similar to the story in the Tower of the Elephant, though.
Yeah.
Cool idea.
Well, speaking of not so cool ideas, I wanted to circle back to this. Let's talk about Heroes Con that you
Oh
attended in
God.
Charlotte, North Carolina, few weeks back now. It's been what,
Yeah.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. First and foremost, who were you seeking out to meet there at the convention? And then I'll let you just tell how it all went for you.
Oh, great. The roster it was stacked with people I really wanted to see, and I had went to Heroes Con. I don't know, maybe in like 2015, somewhere in there, and it was a busy. but like not like mounds of people all over each other. And I thought the experience was going to be a lot like that because I hadn't been in years. William Stout was going to be there. Roy Thomas was going to be there. Jerry Conway was going to be there. Jim Shooter was going to be there, and Chris Claremont was going to be there. And there were some other people there that were of notice, but that was the ones I was interested in meeting. And I went there with my brother and my two nephews, and I get there. We get downstairs on the main floor, and it's gonzo crowd. Like it's just there's vendors all over the place, people all over the place, and there's lines. And I'm like, where the hell are these lines? Like they're just down the wall. Like, and I'm looking down, like, well, that's just vendors and stuff like that. And who the hell are they lined up for? And I'm walking around, and I seek out William Stout. Like he's not there. They said he's at a panel and he'll be back in a while. And I find the writers that I'm all interested in, and Roy Thomas isn't even there, and the line is zigzagging like this. Like the thing was, I told Nathan that this is exactly like Christmas Story. It's like when Ralphie and Randy walk up to the line, and that parent says, "Hey kid, what are you doing?" "I'm going to see Santa." Huh, the line ends here. It begins there. That's how it was for Roy Thomas, who wasn't even there, for Chris Claremont, for Jerry Conway, and I never could find Jim Shooter. It was overwhelming, the amount of people. The people for these guys that were there to see Roy, Jerry, and Chris were lined up from one end of the convention center to the very other side. They had more than one line for everybody. There was lines that would zigzag in the corral. Then the line to get in that line started across the damn convention center, and it wasn't marked. None of them were. You had no idea where the line began and ended. And I remember at one point I got in line for Roy. I was like, all right, I'm gonna sit here and wait. I kept looking like I'm not seeing him here, like, and this line's not moving. I'm like, he's not even here yet. And I'm looking at the clock and like I didn't want my brother, who had my two nephews with him, like they're having a great time. My brother's looking around, the kids are having a blast looking at people in Star Wars costumes and various other things and superheroes all around. They're in their own world having a great time. Me, I'm miserable. I am just I was at cloud 11 walking in there. I went down to negative 11. I was so deflated. I got nothing autographed other than William Stout did
Mhm.
eventually show up,
Mm.
and wasn't anything like the two interviews that we did with him many years ago. It was not as enjoyable trying to pull stuff out of him, like trying to engage in conversation. And he was nice to me, and he signed my poster for free and everything. It wasn't miserable, but I just I felt the interviews that we have asked for a lot more engaging. This was not, and that was deflating. And it didn't help that I was starting to realize I'm not going to be able to see anybody that I came here to see outside of William Stout. And I thought, okay, and that was how But when I finally realized, okay, if I see no one else, I'm going to go see William Stout, and at least I can say I met him, I got his autograph, which I do. I already have his autographs already. Um, but I finally get to interact with him and talk with him and try and maybe have this amazing conversation that I duplicated one other time, and it was just not that. And he was nice to me, polite. He did say that I was hoping to get maybe some other insights, like on stuff that we had not talked about, and I asked him about the Grayskull set and what it looked like, and he said, "I wish I had taken pictures of it, but." He had designed, in that little documentary, he had mentioned that the set had lower levels for He-Man and Skeletor to have sword fights on, and nothing was ever talked about. Nothing was ever choreographed. They just never got around to doing it. But that the set was designed to have a big epic sword battle with staircases going up and down for He-Man and Skeletor to have this long epic fight up and below lower levels of Grayskull, and that working with Frank Langella was not good at first. That he said Frank was actually quite rude and ugly to him at the very beginning, and that the crew had to tell him, like, no, we're all big fans of William Stout. He's done a great job. Don't give him any shit. And he changed his tune after that. And that apparently in the biography that he'd written, he kind of outed a lot of things that William what alluded to, that man, like you're going after a lot of people publicly with certain things. Like I didn't know Frank Langella wrote had a biography, autobiography. So I guess if people are interested, there's an autobiography that he has. He says a lot of things in that book, I guess, that are
Wrote
stories
it.
people probably didn't want to have made public.
Damn.
But that was the only bit of insight I got, because I was trying to talk to him about Conan, and I mentioned to him that, I said I loved your interview on the 4K edition that they interviewed you on, and, I said there was so much I wanted to hear about. He's like, I did an interview for that. And it's like, yeah, and then he repeats back to me what he said in the interview. I'm thinking like,
I,
this
I,
is not blowing
well,
my skirt up here.
well, and you and I talked about this because when you interviewed William Stout, that was what 8 years ago now at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
So
yeah,
a lot of time he's gotten older. I kind of put that into the mix of just it's
yeah.
memory's not as good as it once was, sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
and it was all right. It just wasn't as, and this is what's kept me from going to these things, or why I swore off of them for years, is like you hype yourself up thinking you have these great moments, and ask them a question that, because Nathan's experienced this too. When you ask a lot of these people who show up at these conventions certain things they don't get asked about, they're more likely to want to engage with you in conversation, and not just here, sign this, here's the picture, okay, move on next.
Yeah, sign my
You know,
chainsaw. All right, see you, kid.
yeah, that's like we've done it enough to where I felt like, it means a lot to these people when you talk to them about something that they don't get asked a lot about. They are like, hey, it's something other than the same old shit over and over again.
Yeah,
And and once doesn't work so much anymore, or some of these people flat just don't want to talk to you, it makes you feel like, man, it's expensive as hell, it's time consuming, it's exhausting from a emotional and mental standpoint, because you're thinking it's gonna be great and exciting. The set itself of being around all those people is overwhelming as it is, and you get
yep.
it's your time, and you walk away feel like you just got kicked in the nuts and you gave them $30 for it.
Yeah,
And it's just, it makes you feel like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, I would much rather enjoy their work from afar, think about what it would be like, because you know, me and Nathan had a lot of good memories of meeting these people, and a lot of not so good memories as well. So much so,
yeah,
like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I can't tell you how many times Nathan would point out who's going to be a guest at this convention. I'm like, that's awesome. I'm not
yeah,
going to go though.
yeah. I've done that a lot lately.
Yeah.
I'm just like that would be awesome, but then it's like you mentioned, prices for these things have just everyone caught on to it. So it's like, oh, there's a lot of money to be made here, and it kept going up. I'm like, and then the travel. So it's like, oh, all
Hmm.
right, I'm gonna go 2 hours or 3.5 hours, and I'm gonna do this in a day, so it's there and back. So we're looking at a round trip deal now, and it's just for the amount of money and not knowing what you're gonna get, the uncertainty of it. It's like Tyler's thinking he's gonna go, and it's gonna be like how he went in 2015, and then he shows up, and then no, it's just lines out the ass all over the place.
That's another thing too. And I Nathan was supposed to go to this one with me, and unfortunately, it didn't work out for him, because I think even though it was a pain in the ass, he
Yeah,
still would have had a good time. Is that the voice actors from Ninja Turtles showed up an hour from our house,
yeah. And I got
and
a VHS poster that I was gonna get all four of them to sign, and it didn't show up in time. And I was like, well, I don't want to just I don't want to do 8x10s. I was like settled. I want to do this poster,
yeah,
and it showed up that following Monday after that. I was like, shit, if you could have. Because sometimes the mail runs on Sundays. I'm like, if it would have shown up on Sunday, I would have grabbed it. I would have gone and tried my damnedest to get it signed by everybody. But yeah,
say,
that didn't work out.
and what happened with me is that I got to meet three of the four,
Yeah,
and they were all three amazing experiences. And I also met Larry Hama, wonderful experience. But the lines for such a small venue were out of control.
mhm.
I mean, and that's how Hiracon would be. It was, and I feel like at this point, I haven't been to one of the real big ones in years. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to be too. With the lines, the people putting these things on don't care about how crowded it is.
Yeah.
They don't care how unorganized it is. It's getting as many asses into that convention center as
Mhm.
they possibly can and dupe them into buying VIP passes and buying autographs in advance and buying all this other shit. And if you get there and have a miserable time, that's your deal. That ain't my problem.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that they're getting bigger and bigger, or they're getting too ambitious for and don't have the room to to handle what they're selling.
Right.
And the lines are so far back, they're broken up, and you people think you're cutting the line because you're not cutting the line. You just think, where's it starting? You stand there like, and there's this big opening, a 10-foot hole in between you and others. The line's back there, man. Like, son of a bitch. I'm not getting anything done here.
Yeah.
And it
Spe-
just makes you feel like, you know what? Unless you're willing to spend all 3 days, get a
Mhm.
hotel room, and sit your ass in that convention center for 3 days straight, trying to get all these, and maybe all you get is an autograph, maybe a bullshit selfie with them, no time to talk, and that's it. But you spent 72 hours getting that.
Yeah.
And maybe it was worth it to you, and maybe it wasn't. But knowing the hassle of the financial hassle, the emotional and mental hassle, and the physical hassle
Yeah.
of hoping all any of this stuff, all the stars have gotten to align with whoever it is you're hoping to see, pay that top dollar for their autograph, and pay top dollar for a picture with them, and hope that they will acknowledge you as a person, is getting to where it's hard to make that all align.
Yeah.
I will recommend, if you can find the cast of Ninja Turtles, those guys will treat you like royalty. I didn't get to meet Cam Clark because the lines were getting too crazy, and I'm like, and they all these photos. That's another thing. They have photo ops either once or twice in the middle of the day, and
Mhm.
you may be waiting 2.5 hours. Now you got to start all over again because they got a bullshit photo op,
Yeah.
or
Or
you
they
don't
got
get
a
to interact
panel.
with them, or a panel.
Yeah.
Like, damn it, man! Like, I just want to buy your autograph and get a picture and say I like what you did in that episode, or I like what you did in this,
Yeah.
and thank them for that. You don't have time. You can't do it
Yeah.
because you got to start all over again 2 or 3 times a day. It's like, why am I bother doing this?
Yeah.
It's too much of a pain in the ass, these things. And
Speaking of which,
I've done the photo ops. You don't get to interact with them. Next. Step in
yeah.
there, take the picture. Next.
Yeah.
You could have done that at the table and got to interact with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never done the photo op stuff. I think it's stupid.
Yeah, I've done it I think twice. I did it with Adam West and Burt Ward and Elvira.
Yeah.
But I got to interact with Adam West before that, and I got to interact with Elvira after. So they weren't. But just knowing that you're trying to catch all these people, like, oh,
Yeah.
I had to go sit on a stool and have people take a picture with me.
Yeah. Speaking of which, like, are you gonna go to the Galaxy Con in
No,
Raleigh? You decided
nope,
not to.
I'm not doing it. Nope.
Yeah. Well, your plan originally was to go because Dolph Lundgren's
Yeah,
gonna
and
be there.
I'd even bought tickets and everything. And after what happened to Hurricane, I'm like, I don't care about the money. I care about not being stressed and being greatly disappointed because of the hassle of waiting in line all day. Then he's got a photo op. Then you got to start and wait again because you've got to go to the bathroom. Now you got to start all over again and
Yeah.
wait and wait and wait and wait. And you don't know if you're going to be thrown through with not even a chance to say, hey, I thought you were great as Punisher, or I thought you were great Universal Soldier, or about to see the He-Man. There's no guarantee. You get up there and it's do or die. You don't know what you're allowed to do. You don't know what you're allowed not to do.
Yeah.
And you just paid a shit ton of money and didn't get to do anything. Or maybe you did. Or maybe, you know what, you become so frustrated by the time you get up there, it's not fun anymore because you've had to restart the line so many
Yeah.
times.
And then when you
And I'm
get
like,
up
you know what?
there,
After what happened to Hurricane, and Eric was telling me, he's like, Tyler, you're going to spend probably all day waiting for. And I said, I know you're right, and I'd rather not do that.
yeah,
I got to have my moment with him during COVID. I got to have
videos on the
a
channel if you guys want to check that out.
yeah, a one-on-one, uninterrupted conversation with him. It was something I'll never forget. He was so nice to me,
Yeah.
and you know what? Not that can't be taken away from me. And I'm like, I'd love to meet him in person, shake his hand, and tell him how much him playing He-Man to me is meant to me, which I already did that. But it would be great in person. But you know what? The way things are at these conventions, you really have got to put in nothing but time for these things and
Hmm.
nothing else. And you
Yep.
know what? I enjoy a stress-free life. I keep it minimal. I take my money, but don't take my time.
Yeah.
and it's maybe it seems foolish, but you know what? I'm more worried about the stress and the emotional irritation of like this was not worth it. And I'm like, if I'm out some money, so be it. I don't care. You know, but I've already made up my mind. I told Erica like, I'm not. We're not going. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Just, I'm
I,
good.
yeah. I'm glad that you kind of went that route, honestly, because I would
Yeah.
hate for you to have gone and met him and then it just didn't go well or something. But
Well,
JSP says, if I ever get a photo up with you guys, we're all flipping the bird. All right.
I'd be more than happy to do that.
That's a deal. You got
Yeah.
it. I,
But
I don't
yeah.
see I don't see us attending a convention as as
No,
this
no
at
one,
any point in the future.
no one's asking us to be guests or anything like that. We're a pretty small time, and we know it.
Yeah.
But it's
At best we might get a little Val Staples popping in. But hey, you guys can come to this if you want to.
yeah, that'd be the only thing,
Yeah.
that anyone would ever see us at a table, because we were honestly surprised to be asked the first, and that
Yeah.
actually people showed up and were glad to see us, as opposed to
Yeah.
like, who are you guys? You guys do a podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
just keep on going.
Dude, it was awesome though, because I brought a little bit of shit I wanted to sell and I got rid of it like within an hour. I was
Yeah.
like, hell yeah, I already
Yeah.
sold all the stuff I brought. Cool.
That was good, and I sold everything I brought too. It took all weekend to do it, but I did it and made a lot of
Yeah.
money back, and bought some things, and it paid for the room, so everything worked out good. And it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
So
We will go ahead and end it on that. So I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Thanks to all of you. There is a question here, Papa Huds. Any reason why it took so long to announce John Irwin's passing publicly? I've noticed this a lot of times too with actors when they pass away. Sometimes you find out a couple weeks or
yeah,
even longer after the fact. I guess it's just more
the
of
family,
the
just
family. Yeah.
yeah, just they rather keep things quiet. Maybe that was one of John's wishes. Like, he
Mhm.
was a very private man to begin with. I can't see him wanting bells and whistles. Let him know, I'm not going to make it, and so I can see the fanfare right before I die, or
Right.
when I, or just they just, or maybe it's just a family decision. They're just not interested in putting it out there and letting publicly know. Oh, by the way, one of the most beloved voice actors of all time has just passed away.
Mhm.
It's just just something that we were put in that situation. We may not want to have to deal with, all these people reaching out to you that you don't even know, or like, saying, "Oh, we're sorry, we're sorry, we're sorry. He meant this to me." And like, you know what, that's nice, but you know what, I don't want to deal with that right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be a one of a million reasons, but more than likely, I'd say it was the family's wish was just like they're not ready to deal with that right now.
Yeah. No, that's pretty much what
Yeah,
it boils down to. But thanks to all of you that were here in the chat,
absolutely.
joining us live. If you're watching this after the fact, I hope you enjoyed it as well. Any of you, leave comments down below, like this video, and if you're new here and you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button and support us and help us out. And until later, let the power return.
See, he don't fight no real man. He fight them setups. What? You're a disgrace to this sport. Shut up, old man. You don't know you and that chump know where I come from. I botched the last part of it there. I said it too fast, and I left out. I botched the quote, but all right, I can go deeper into the scene.
Yeah,
You
sure.
get out while you can. Don't give the sucker no statue. Give him guts. I told you I wasn't going away. You got your shot. Now give me mine.
This sounds like the way you're doing it. It sounds like Apollo Creed.
You're in the ballpark.
So, Rocky 4?
No.
No, all right.
Close.
So, Rocky 3?
Yeah.
So maybe Clubber Lang?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. There we go. There
Yeah.
we go. Crom's Mountain right there with Rocky 3.
Bravo.
Just
Bravo.
I was saying it. Real quick too, did you see the She-Ra Barbie that they came out with on Mattel Creations?
No, I think I heard a while back that they were doing another She-Ra Barbie, but
Yeah.
I wasn't interested in the first one that they did a few
Yeah.
years back. So
I mean, it looked good, but it's just like, I don't.
it's a Barbie. I just they Barbied up She-Ra the first time she came out. Like,
Yeah.
I think we've done that enough. I'd rather her look more you can be badass and elegant and sexy at the same time. And Barbie's just all about combing that rooted hair.
Yeah.
And all the swords and shields for men is like makeup accessories. Like, ugh.
Oh, once we
Really
go
have
off
to,
air,
like,
that's when Tyler will pull out the Barbie and he'll be combing its hair. So you guys won't see
yeah,
that part.
yeah, like I'm like Lord Helmet in Spaceballs, and Nathan's like, no, I didn't see you combing your dolls again.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh man. I don't know what we'll have to talk after the show and see what we got lined up for you guys
Yeah, so we'll we'll,
next
we'll
time.
be we'll, we'll be back for next week at some point. Not sure which day. We'll figure that one out. But
Yeah, we'll figure
it'll be
it out.
great content you would get nowhere else. You got to show up here for it.
Same. I was gonna do the bad time thing. That's done.
Oh, what was that, Mumbles?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
Kidman's up top, shooting star press.